On this episode, join me on the first episode of a new series as I take 16-year-old Abigail from ground zero to private pilot.
That's your first takeoff.
Feels great.
Awesome.
Abigail is a sophomore in high school and has always had the desire to learn how to fly. A few years ago, she had her introductory flight and hadn't gone any further until now. Her father reached out to me about taking her on from start to finish, and for the last couple of years, I haven't taken on any primary students as I've been focusing primarily on giving multi-engine, helicopter, tailwheel, and seaplane training. But I've been really missing teaching someone from the ground up. So Abigail is now in the chute. We completed a considerable amount of ground school and pre-flight training before today on some crummy weather days. And today, we had some wide open blue sky to get her back in the air. Come along on Abigail's official first lesson towards private pilot.
Alright, cool. Alright, so now we've done starting engine check. We've done all of that. See how we got magnetos, oil pressure to start within 30 seconds max, right? Fuel pump comes off. So go ahead and turn the fuel pump off. So that button right there. All right.
Fuel pump off.
Now the reason why we do that, there's two fuel pumps on the airplane. One's a mechanically driven fuel pump and one's an electrically driven fuel pump. We're going to make sure that the mechanical driven fuel pump is providing enough fuel for the engine in case the electrical fuel pump fails. Make sense?
Yep.
All right, so now, that's RPM 1000 starting engine checklist complete.
All right.
Now that before taxi, so alternator switch is already on. I went ahead and did that as a flow. Okay, so it's on.
So alternator switch on.
Alternator switch on.
Voltmeter green.
Voltmeter green. Okay, so the voltmeter.
Right here?
Yep.
No,
So
you can see her.
See, if you turn it off, it goes into the yellow really quick,
Okay.
right? So turn it back on, there we go, see?
There you see.
And you're looking at 26 to 28, excellent.
All right.
And turn coordinator, that's this switch right here.
Turn coordinator
That's for that
on.
instrument, yep. Right, it's on.
Radio master.
Okay, right there, it's on.
Master on.
Yeah.
Fuel selector.
Okay, so now we're going to switch the fuel selector over to the right tank. The reason why we do that is because we want to verify that we can get a good steady stream of fuel coming from the opposite fuel tank that we're going to take off with, come to the fuel selector, and we've got good fuel flow on both sides. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a validation, excellent.
Awesome.
And then flaps.
Flaps are retracted in takeoff position.
Okay, this is your pitch trim. These are your flaps, remember? So bring that up, bring it.
Bring it up to retracted.
Bring it all the way to the retract position, just to make sure they will retract all the way. They do. Now come back to the takeoff position.
Okay.
Pretty cool, huh? So it's indicating takeoff position, and we can look outside and visually see that it indicates takeoff position. Make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So let's check the AT.
Okay, so before taxi checklist is complete, now that red sign right there, the red background with the white lettering, that's a mandatory airport marking sign. It's the indication of a whole short position for a runway, or it could be for some other things on the field. This is for 1533. This is where we look both ways, clear right, clear left. We're going to get the lights on, strobes on, and we're going to be sterile completely as we're crossing the runway. Sterile means we're going to keep the... It means we're going to limit our conversation to looking outside and procedural stuff. So clear left, right, forward. Temple traffic, Cicadas crossing runway 1533 at Charlie Temple. So click left and right, forward. All right, we are clear when we get across the whole short line. Okay, landing light will come off, and we got everything else normal. All right, so Now, I'm going to have you practice taxiing. I'm going to come to a complete stop and let you start fresh. All right?
Right.
And what we're looking for on taxiing is a brisk walk. Brisk walk is just like if you were out here walking in a pretty good pace. So one hand on the throttle. Okay, the wind is coming from our tail, so we want the yoke neutral and we want the yoke forward. Okay? I'm off the brakes. Okay, so your heel should be on the floor, right? Your toes should be on the bottom of the rudder pedals, right?
Okay.
And you only need the brakes as required. You can move your feet up to tap the brakes if you need to, but we don't want to ride the brakes. Riding the brakes is bad. Okay?
All right.
So, you have the flight controls. You say I have the flight controls.
I have the flight controls.
You have the flight controls, all right? So just advance just a nudge of power. There you go. Now we're underway. You're taxiing. Okay, so left rudder. There you go. See? And now we're starting to get a little bit fast, so just crack the power back. There you go. And she'll just coast. Now keep in mind, we've got the wind coming from behind us, pushing us.
All right.
So what that does is that helps increase our speed. All right, so now what I want to do, normally you wouldn't do this while you're taxiing, but I'd like for you to do some S-turns about the center line. So go back and forth. And all this does is get you acquainted with how the airplane handles taxiing. If you see that you need to slow down, pull the power back. If you see that you need to speed up, just add just a nudge. Everything happens slowly. Now, if you need the brakes, you use them. That's what they're there for. But we don't want to ever get in the habit of riding the brakes. That's bad for aircraft ownership and bad airmanship. Alright, so when we get down here, right, come to the left side of the pavement. Okay, back your power back. Back your power all the way to idle. I got it. That's all. Bring the power to idle. That's okay. Now what we're going to do is slow down. Now we're going to turn the airplane into the wind. So right rudder, a little bit of right brake. Here we go. Give it a little bit of power to corner. Let off the brake. There we go. Just work it around. Just work it around. You got it. Bring it around. Bring it around. What we're trying to do is we're trying to put the nose into the wind for the run-up, okay? So bring it around.
Wind's at 2-3, right?
Yeah, so you see the windsock? We're going to put the nose wheel into the wind, okay? Now get the nose, let off the brakes. Okay, there you go. Now straighten the nose wheel up. There you go. Okay, now, checklist. All right, we'll go. All right, so when we are approaching the runway, we want to look at final, listen to the air traffic control, listen to the CTAF if we're at a non-towered airport like we are. There's runway 20 on the sign. Temple traffic, Tampico 546, Papa Charlie's rolling runway 20, Temple. Alright, I said 20. The wind is favoring 20. The sign says 20. There's 20 on asphalt right there.
Alright.
We're going to get down here on the center line here. We got a right crosswind. We're on the center line. The compass says pretty close to 20. So does the heading indicator. Okay. Hand on the yoke. One hand on the throttle. Heels to the floor. Alright, I'm off the brakes. Go ahead. Advance power.
To what RPM?
All the way in. Full power. Power comes all the way in. Okay? And use the rudder pedals to keep the airplane on the center line. You got a right crosswind. That's good. Good control input. The airspeed is coming up. The gauges are in the green. We got good fuel pressure. Slowly apply back pressure. There you go. Start bringing it back. There you go. Bring it back. Bring it back. There you go. Excellent. Now look at this pitch attitude right here. You're a little bit too low, so go ahead and bring a little bit more back pressure. There you go. Looking good. That's your first takeoff.
Feels great.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Okay. A little more pitch attitude. We'll climb. There we go.
Ooh, that was
Keep
scary.
keep the hand on the throttle. There you go. We got good engine instruments.
Traffic from 43 Alpha downwind runway 20, Temple.
Little bumpy because of heat.
Yeah, it is. Now, every so often, you want to lower the nose just a little bit out in front of you and look for traffic, making sure no one's coming in the opposite direction. All right. Let's go out here to the right.
Alright. Go ahead and enter a bank angle.
Turn the yoke to the right. and then add a little bit of right rudder pressure. Okay, now look how high our pitch attitude is. There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what we've got here is we got our VSI telling us we're climbing. It's going to catch up with us. Temple area traffic, Cicada 54 Papa Charlie is departing the area to the southwest. Temple 546 Papa Charlie. All right, I have the flight controls.
You're
610 Romeo Victor.
Yeah, flight controls.
I have flight controls.
126.12. We'll see you later.
All right, look around.
beautiful.
Isn't it awesome? Beautiful day to fly.
98873,
Look at Lake
contact
Belton down
board,
there.
127.45.
Yeah.
Okay, so look at the altimeter right now. What altitude does the altimeter read out?
She has 2,000, a little bit below
There
2,500.
you go. So 2,500, right? Okay, so I'm gonna trim the airplane up and show you that the airplane will fly just fine in level flight just by trimming it up. Okay, so we got the airspeed up. We got it. We're starting to work the trim in. I'm gonna bring the power back so that we don't redline it. Okay, we'll bring the mixture back. Okay, so the sequence of events are pitch, allow the airspeed to increase, pull the power back. So take it in for a moment, enjoy it.
Wow,
Isn't it cool? Beautiful.
definitely.
So, we talked about this on the ground. What makes an airplane turn, and that's using
Correction,
the horizontal component of the lift to cause the airplane to turn. Well, what does that mean? All right, we're straight and level right now, right?
Yep.
We know we're straight and level because we can see out our wingtips and using our eyes that we're level with the horizon, right?
Yep.
So looking out there, we can see that we got that much earth and that much sky. We can back it up with the instruments, but at this very early stage of the game, we just want to focus on looking outside primarily and then backing it up with the instruments, okay? So look at the whole horizon, right? All right, now if I want to turn the airplane, you've already done it, but I want to talk about it more thoroughly with you.
Yep.
I'll turn the airplane, I'm going to clear it to the left, I'm going to look left, I'm going to look forward, and I'm going to lead off, okay? Lead off with aileron, a little bit of back pressure, a little bit of rudder, and I'm going to come to the left, and the airplane turns. Okay? Now we're going to get away from the port hood restricted, move more closer towards the Belton Dam.
Yeah.
Okay?
Charlie Delta, roger. Let me know when you're ready to cut loose. Looks like one there, just north of the airport, 1,400.
One thing I'm going to show to you before I pass the controls back to you. We talked a little bit about a phenomenon known as adverse yaw. This airplane is built to withstand adverse yaw better, more so than some of the older airplanes. I brought a yaw string today.
Yep.
Okay, the yaw string is an accurate reflection of what the relative wind is doing across the wings. If I get crooked, or if I get uncoordinated rather, look at what the yaw string does.
Yeah.
Okay, the yaw string is pointing with the direction of the relative wind. What that means right now, what that's telling you right now, is that the left wing is getting all of that relative wind, but the right wing is getting disturbed relative airflow.
Yeah.
Because the fuselage and the engine cowling is blocking a good flow of air across the wing, which could be bad in a stall scenario, which we'll talk about later. Look at the ball. The ball is kicked out way out there. The yaw string is showing that you're out of whack. The way you fix that is by stepping on the ball. It comes right back to the coordinated position.
All right.
Or stepping away from the head of the snake on the yaw string.
Okay.
Okay. That's how the yaw string works. That's how coordination works. Now,
that'll be the best bet on that side.
I'm going to crank it clear to the right. I'm going to crank it to the right once without using the rudder. Okay?
Okay.
Clear right.
34, 35.
Look at the yaw string. It's not perfectly straight. You see that?
Yeah.
The ball is slightly to the right.
On this one.
Okay? That's known as a slip. Okay? Now watch what happens to this string and look out there on the horizon when I roll left, okay? Look at what the nose does. Look at that. You see how the nose initially turned to the right?
Yeah.
That's known as adverse yaw. Known as adverse yaw. So the purpose of the rudder is to compensate for adverse yaw. Okay, so we want to lead off with aileron, rudder, a little bit of elevator in order to prevent the airplane from descending. Okay? Alright, you have the flight controls now.
Alright, my flight controls?
Your flight controls. Alright. See the lake over there, Lake Stillhouse?
Yep.
Go ahead and turn towards Lake Stillhouse. You're clear.
Alrighty.
And what do you do? Clear right. Look right. There you go. Look right. Cool.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start the turn, clearing in front of me.
Yeah.
Abigail's first official lesson went exactly as planned, and it was a blast. This episode was the first of several to come as we travel down the journey towards her private pilot certificate. I look forward to bringing you all along as we cover not all, but some of her training during her progress. Join us next episode as I bring you along for an extensive discussion on stall and spin awareness, avoidance, recognition, and recovery. Until next episode, fly safe, keep learning, and never give up on a dream. So long.